2023 is a huge year for TCGs. There are so many coming out, from indie TCG releases on Kickstarter to major game releases from established companies. It can be hard to get all the information straight for all these games coming out, and it's already February. It's the second month of the year already. So we can't really wait any longer. We have to get this information out to you guys. I put together a list of all the TCGs getting Western or global releases in 2023 and the information that you need to know. Well, all the ones that I could find, I guess. There's really a lot. Runeslingers the Awakening. This fantasy-themed mage dueling game features a very unique ailment and boon system and lots of rocks. This funded on Kickstarter June 5th, 2022, with a total of $91,960. In this game, players play Runeslingers and kit them out with a couple of different effects to go with their deck. Placing cards from your hand face down as concentration gives you resources to sling your rune spells at the opponent in an effort to deal them damage. Every time their health is drained, 1 power is lost, and after 5 total power is lost, they are defeated. Uniquely, a set of 8 different ailments can be applied by cards, which grow in harm as they stack, but playing boon cards can give you temporary reprieve from those ailments' ailment. Runeslingers feels like a board game developed into a TCG with a core set of rules and shared abilities that the cards get to play with. The company does have plans for event kits and tournament software has been mentioned, and distribution following Kickstarter shipment is announced to be a hybrid model, including both direct-to-consumer and business-as-distributor for now. Players who are intrigued by the shared ailments and boons and the class loadout system may find a unique gem to enjoy in Runeslingers. Runeslingers' Kickstarter release, called Alpha, is slated to ship to Kickstarter backers February to March of 2023, with regular distribution for the set planned in spring of 2023. Grand Archive TCG. A new anime-themed TCG with Western-style card design, with an equal focus on collectability and competitive play. This funded on Kickstarter January 1st, 2022, with a total of $947,000. Gameplay-wise, this is effectively a hero battler where you control a champion and try to deal damage to your opponent's champion, but it also features a play monsters and attack style of gameplay like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! The unique memory resource system removes the need for land or similar cards and also introduces a risk and reward to how much you spend on a turn. Grand Archive offers high rarity chase serialized collector rare variants, a low drop rate for valuable foil cards, and full transparency on card populations. Plans for organized play are already shown, including an organized play app, ELO rankings, local support kits, and a high-level event already planned in Houston, Texas in 2023 that offers competition for both players and, uniquely, for collectors as well. The Kickstarter release, Dawn of Ashes First Edition, is shipping out to backers in late February 2023 around the world, while regular distribution, Dawn of Ashes Ultra Edition, is planned to start around April 2023. Primal TCG. The Naruto TCG is reborn in an original fantasy universe. Primal TCG funded on Kickstarter September 20th, 2022 with a total of $78,000. Gameplay-wise, Primal TCG has a game structure that is identical to the original Naruto TCG. Players play characters to their kingdom, assign them into teams, and send them into battle to earn battle rewards. Strategy and ability cards allow you to further enhance your game plan. Cards use a turn counter as a hard resource with the additional potential to cost Essence, which can be any card played from your hand as a resource. Instead of having attack and defense stats, characters have healthy and injured combat and support values, with the character assigned to lead a team using the relevant combat value, while up to 2 other characters use the relevant support value to support the leader. For fans of Bandai's original Naruto CCG, or the lesser-known Dragon Ball CCG, which featured almost identical mechanics as well, Primal is a return to that very same headspace and is sure to appeal. New players may enjoy the tried and true mechanics it uses as well. The Kickstarter release, titled Awakened Primordials First Edition, is slated to ship out to backers in mid-March 2023, and as far as a full release, it sounds like Primal is planning a second First Edition Kickstarter later this year, now that they've continued to work out some kinks. Otherverse TCG. Battle with fantasy characters and creatures to win poker-style life point bets across multiple rounds of play. This funded on Kickstarter May 18th, 2022 with a total of $672,000. Gameplay-wise, Otherverse is one of the more unique TCGs releasing this year, with its cards having relatively few display elements, allowing the full art artwork to shine. That's because gameplay is relatively straightforward deviation of a war and poker hybrid, but with strategy involved. Players begin by drawing 2 cards, anteing life points, and adding 2 cards from their deck face up onto opposite ends of their 5-card pools. Players may then raise, call, or fold their life point bets. Across 3 more card reveals from the deck, players continue to bet over whether or not their pool will win. Once all 5 cards are down for each player, players can then place any of the 2 cards from their hand face down to replace cards in their pool. Cards are then revealed, and players begin initiating battles between the cards in their pool and using their effects. Whoever wins 3 battles wins the round and that life point pool, and players continue playing rounds until one player has lost all their life points. As with a few games on this list, looking at the art will give you a good idea of whether or not the game appeals to you, as the art is a huge focus of the game. Fans of betting and poker-style elements in games may also find a lot to enjoy in this one. The Kickstarter release, Hidden Void Kickstarter Edition, is planned to ship out to backers in March of 2023, with a full release, Hidden Void First Edition, planned for somewhere between June to September 2023. Sorcery Contested Realm TCG. This old-school, fantasy-themed, flavor-first TCG features grid-based tactical positioning, a focus on casual play, and it attempts to reclaim the feel of early 90s TCGs. This funded on Kickstarter April 4th, 2022, with an absolutely insane $3,755,205. Gameplay-wise, Sorcery features strategy RPG-style grid movement. You deploy sites to grid locations and move your minions to attack your opponent's undefended sites and ultimately deal damage to their avatar. Sites give you mana, which you can then spend every turn on minions, spells, and relics. It has a slower pace and tactical play that should appeal to board game and strategy game fans. Every card in Sorcery is a full art with illustrations from big-name fantasy artists evoking the retro fantasy style. It has a low rarity ceiling, with the most rare rarity you'll find in packs being 1 in every 4 to 5 packs, a slow planned release schedule, 1 to 2 sets per year, and no firm organized play plans, although of course there are organized play events happening on Discord servers, etc. But all of that really seems to just hammer home the casual nature of this game. The Kickstarter release, Sorcery Contested Realm Alpha, is shipping sometime in Q1 2023, but it's moved back a few times, and regular distribution, Beta, is planned for May to June 2023. Battle Spirits Saga. After 13 years, Bandai's flagship dark fantasy Japanese TCG gets a new run worldwide. This is the first game on the list that isn't a Kickstarter TCG, as it's coming from major TCG company Bandai. Gameplay-wise, the core feature of Battle Spirits Saga is its core mechanic, where players utilize a growing pool of cores to pay for both play costs and to power up their cards already in play. Dealing damage to the opponent via attacking with spirits grants them more cores to use, and by utilizing spirits, nexuses, and magic cards, players can outwit their opponent in the fast-paced play. Limited specific response windows keep things snappy, and trap card-like burst effects keep things interesting. While Battle Spirits has run for well over a decade in Japan, Saga is its own take on the game, featuring a unique mix of older and redeveloped cards that is free to take its own path rather than having to follow the release schedule of the Japanese game. Bandai is pumping a ton of money into pricing and advertising, perhaps attempting to maneuver the game to land among the big 3. A typical fast Bandai release schedule is planned, with Set 2 on the horizon already for July, and plenty of competition and promo cards to collect in addition to their first go at actual cash prizes in a TCG. Competitive players may want to look into this game if you fancy your chances to make some bank. Battle Spirits Saga Dawn of History. The first set releases worldwide April 2023, but there's plenty of pre-release, pre-launch events happening all over the world too. Rise TCG. An indie TCG with an open-ended fantasy aesthetic that covers tones from serious to comical. Rise TCG funded on Kickstarter November 7th, 2022 with $385,000. Gameplay-wise, Rise feels like a blend between a digital TCG and a board game with counters to track and abilities built into the game for both players to use. Players build decks around 2 summoners and summon creatures, incantations, and doors using those summoners. Cards will allow your summoners to level up and gain access to more card plays per turn and stronger abilities. 1 coin is also gained per turn, which is spent on card abilities or to draw cards. Attacking the opponent's summoners can reduce their life, and taking both summoners out will win you the game. The gorgeous artwork is the headlining feature of Rise, and impressively, this is a game where the game's creator is also the artist for the game. Really a one-man show. The Kickstarter release, Alpha, should be shipping out to backers around May 2023. As far as regular distribution, this was a little more difficult to get clear information on. It hasn't been clearly said if Rise will be entering the TCG distribution networks, regular distributors, or self-distributed, but more sets are currently in the works and planned for after the Kickstarter delivers. Alpha Clash TCG, a modern superhero-themed TCG with a lot of Dragon Ball Super DNA. Alpha Clash is actually the most recently funded TCG on this list, funding on Kickstarter January 10th, 2023 with $422,000. As such, it's probably the most likely to see any significant delays on this list. As far as gameplay goes, in Alpha Clash you're going to build your deck around a contender and play clash cards that represent other characters. You attack your opponent's contender to reduce their life, but in doing so you potentially give them access to new abilities as well. Like DBS and other games before it, any card from your hand can be placed upside down as a resource once per turn, but it trades DBS's combo system for more combat tricks, trap-like cards, attach cards, and other stuff. Alpha Clash is being handled by a very ambitious company that is already building in lore and comics, has novels on the way, and even a board game planned. Artwork and graphic design are absolutely top-notch for this game and fit a company attempting to build a full multimedia franchise. Alpha Clash targets a ramp up to about 3 sets per year by 2025, which is an easy pace to keep up with while still providing motion for competitive play. For players itching for a superhero genre game with big plans for the universe it's being built in, definitely give Alpha Clash a look. The Kickstarter release for Alpha Clash The Awakening, Wave 1 or Kickstarter Edition, it wasn't clear what it was called, should be shipping to backers around May of 2023, but again, keep in mind this Kickstarter just finished, so we'll see if any delays happen. Regular distribution, Wave 2, or just the non-Kickstarter version, is planned for summer of 2023. Lore TCG, a Lovecraftian horror TCG with roots in Magic the Gathering. Lore TCG funded on Kickstarter on October 18th, 2022 with $83,000. For the gameplay, in Lore TCG players build decks around elder gods and use, surprise, 5 different colors of magic to play creatures, relics, and spells to reduce their opponent's sanity. The mechanic that makes this really stand out from a typical Magic-like game, though, is that as cards are played, they all increment this shared mythos pool. Every god that you play has a mythos value, and when that mythos value is met from both players playing cards, you're able to summon your god forth to cataclysmic effect. While the Kickstarter numbers for this game was smaller compared to some others on this list, this team is working towards distribution internationally, but may start with a hybrid model as things grow, including plans for LGS promo kits and pre-releases. Lore TCG is built on Magic's solid foundation, but has a ton of Lovecraftian flair, and its unique mechanics make it play very differently ultimately. This game would definitely appeal to big Cthulhu fans who are looking for a new TCG take. The Kickstarter release, Lore 19-2022 Kickstarter Edition, is planned to ship out to backers June of 2023, with a full release, Lore 19-2022 First Edition, planned for July or August 2023. Shadowverse Evolve. Cygame's digital TCG Shadowverse is finally made in paper form by Bushiroad. Gameplay-wise, Shadowverse Evolve is a fairly straightforward Hearthstone-style game. Your leader determines which color of cards you can play, resources increase every turn, and your goal is to deplete your opponent's life points with your followers. The game attempts to be true to the digital version in many ways, including tracking follower stats across turns, though a few changes have been made, including consolidating some colors and adjusting the game's unique Evolve mechanic. players now compose a separate Evolve deck with evolved versions of followers that are in their main deck, potentially limiting the amount of evolvable followers in your deck. Evolving now uses the same resource as everything else, with the second player getting a few free Evolve points to use as compensation instead. With high-quality gacha game style artwork and a tried-and-true gameplay system, you'll probably know if this game is for you by looking at it. This game has already released in Japanese, and this is an English release that'll be playing catch-up. The full English release of Shadowverse Evolve, Advent of Genesis, is planned for late June 2023. Elestrals TCG. A new set of Pokemon-like critters headline this very Yu-Gi-Oh! Inspired game by popular YouTuber and fellow Dan, A-Drive. Elestrals TCG was funded on Kickstarter December 9th, 2022, with a stellar $1,470,000. Gameplay-wise, in Elestrals, players use a deck of 20 spirit cards in various elements that serve as both a resource pool and a life total, which allow them to cast Elestrals and play runes to empower them or counter their opponent. Taking damage will pull spirits out of that deck, so managing which spirits you lose can keep your best options open into the endgame. Elestrals entering in attack or defense mode, affecting how they deal with combat, and runes being played face down behind them give this gameplay a familiar air for Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans, while still having plenty of its own design space to explore. Elestrals is sure to appeal to those who love critter collecting, and with a high-reach YouTuber at the helm, it's less likely to struggle to find an audience. Impressively, a digital version is already in development as well. The Kickstarter release, the base set Founders Edition, is estimated to ship to backers around August 2023, with a full release being sometime. It's not really clear when that's happening. But set 2 is planned for Q4 2023, so probably sometime before then. Disney's Lorcana. Board game publisher Ravensburger brings a new TCG which is set to appeal to Disney fans of all ages. Gameplay-wise, details are pretty scarce on this game. Unlike all the Kickstarter TCGs on the list, we don't have like a full rulebook or anything. But so far we know that Disney characters from their vast array of films are featured on cards of 6 different ink types. Similar to games like Force of Will, players have a separate ink deck with resource cards of up to 2 different colors to play the cards in their main deck, which include characters and action cards, at least. Based on card abilities we've seen, it's reasonable to infer that characters will be played and sent to challenge one another in a similar manner to creature or monster combat in other TCGs. Some elements that are on these cards, though, are still not explained or understood, so we really don't have a great feel for it, but it looks kind of magic-like, I guess. With an announced plan of 4 expansions per year, a reported expanding of the already well-established company's staff to accommodate the TCG, and the support of Disney behind them, it's clear that Lorcana is likely to make a big impact in the TCG space. While organized play is announced, much like the rules, information is sparse, and the history of board game publishers taking on TCGs is paved with short-lived games. But if any game is poised to break that rule, it's Lorcana. Disney fans should, of course, keep a sharp eye out as product is likely to move quickly. The full release of Lorcana's first set, the first chapter, is scheduled for late August 2023 in the US, with a limited early Gen Con release, and September 2023 internationally. So that is everything I've got for you guys here. All the TCGs that I could find information on that we're releasing in 2023, getting, again, English or global releases in 2023. I am sure that I missed something. I'm sure that there's a Kickstarter game that did a little release last year, but their full releases this year or something. If I missed anything, please go ahead down in the comments and let me know what I missed so we can get the whole community informed with the information. I really do appreciate that. And if you did enjoy the video, leave a like down there too. And again, just a reminder, guys, that this is all the information that I have when I recorded this video. Of course, the information on some of the stuff, especially Kickstarter games, changes like sometimes on a day-to-day basis. So if you find anything important that you need to correct, leave an update on a game or something, you go ahead and leave that in the comments down below as well. I really appreciate you guys watching today, and we will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching another Main Deck video. Main Deck is sponsored by J-Dub Sports Cards and Gaming. Visit jwwcards.com and by our amazing patrons. Get exclusive content and other cool perks on the Main Deck Patreon. And hey, while you're here, I bet you'd like one of these videos. Go ahead, click one. I know you're gonna love it.